Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going back into Glasgow to explore the Kelvingrove Art Gallery and Museum. Glasgow has a few different art museums, but I had heard a bunch of great things about Kelvingrove and I wanted to experience it for myself. I was told that they have pieces from artists like Van Gogh and Monet. These are two of my favorite artists that inspire me and whose work I love to recreate. So I was so excited to get to see some of their artworks in real life. When I woke up in the morning, the sun was shining, so I knew it would be a good day. I walked along the river as I made my way to the train station. It's always so nice being able to be surrounded by all of the beautiful nature God has created. I feel really blessed to have this opportunity to study in Scotland for the year and experience everything it has to offer. I've already been able to get so much inspiration from my new surroundings, and I can't wait to keep exploring more parts of it. I'm also hoping to be able to travel to different parts of Europe and explore more art museums and art shops in different countries like France, Italy, the Netherlands, and more. It's so cool that here you can just jump on a train and head into different cities so easily. The town I'm staying in is just a short train ride away from Glasgow, so it's really easy just to make a day trip out of it. Glasgow is such a cool city, there's so many things to do and see, so I'll definitely be making more trips back. I got to the museum around its opening at 10 a.m. and started on the ground floor. There are 3 floors in this museum. The ground floor and the first floor both consist entirely of exhibits, while the lower ground floor has the cafe and gift shops. When you walk in, you enter a big open space that looks up to the organ balcony that plays a recital every day in the afternoon. This room is so gorgeous and I was amazed by the architecture. I started exploring all the different galleries and exhibits. It caught me off guard how large some of the pieces were. It's insane to think about an artist working on a scale that big. A lot of the paintings are oil paintings, and I loved being able to look at them up close to see all of the details and brush strokes. It really deepens my respect for the artists and the amazing skills they have. They also had a ton of different artifacts from such a wide range of places. In the Ancient Egypt exhibit, the sculptures and carvings blew me away. It's so cool to think about people millions of years ago tediously working on these pieces and that they still exist today for us to see them. Their skills were so amazing despite preceding the evolutions and advancements of technology and knowledge that we have today. Next, I went into the Creatures of the Past exhibit, where they had fossils and taxidermies of a bunch of different animals. It's amazing to see the evolution of some species, and despite how the world has changed, versions of them still exist today. It was also so cool to see some of the types of creatures that lived in the past, because it's hard to even imagine them being on Earth now. Then I went into the Environment Discovery Center, which is an interactive exhibit. You could look at different specimens under a microscope, and they also had an enclosure with a ton of bees, and you could see how they interacted with each other and created a honeycomb. I wandered to the other side of the museum, back through the center hall into the Heads exhibit. As I walked in, I was greeted with their well-known Floating Heads installation. As the name implies, they had a bunch of different busts on display. I really love looking at sculptures because it is so incredible to see how such a solid piece of material can be carved into something with such detail, motion, beauty, and softness. I had brought my sketchbook, so I was on the lookout for a sculpture to sketch later on. I then made my way into the Looking at Art gallery. I really enjoyed this one. It was the first room I went into that was completely filled with paintings. It was super cool to recognize paintings that I studied in my art history classes and be able to stand right in front of them and examine them close up. Some artists had such incredible attention to detail, I was just in awe. All the different variations of artwork were so inspiring. Every artist had their own unique style, and it's so interesting to see how different artists paint the same category. For example, every landscape painting had something special about it in the way its painting style varied from the others. In this exhibit, I came across work from an artist named John Quinton Pringle. His work was captivating to me. He was an artist from Glasgow who was actually an optometrist. He had a unique way of painting, which can't really be categorized into any style. It consisted of kinds of dots of paint which created such visual interest and movement in his paintings that I found absolutely amazing. Next, I went into an exhibit displaying the Macintosh style. René Mackintosh was known for his simplistic geometric designs. These are prominent in a variety of artworks and architectures, one being the Willow Tea Room design. His style is evident by the tall and distinctive high-backed chairs. And the bracelet that I wear is actually one of his designs. The next exhibit I went into was called the Glasgow Boys. They were the most significant group of British artists of their time. Eventually, they split off and each one of them developed their own personal styles. I had never heard of this group before, so it was super cool to have discovered their art and see it for the first time. A lot of them found their subject matter in nature because they painted outdoors, and this is one of the reasons I absolutely loved their works. Some of my favorite pieces were the landscapes with the Highland cows in them. This was the last exhibit I had to visit on the ground floor, so I made my way to the lower ground floor into the cafe to get some lunch. It was really cute in there and the food was so yummy. I got the chicken burger and soup and it was delicious. The fries in Scotland are so good. I love thick cut fries and these were perfectly crisp on the outside and fluffy on the inside. Afterwards, I headed up to the first floor, and the first exhibit I visited was French art. This was the exhibit I was most excited for because it's where the Van Gogh and Monet pieces are housed. Immediately, the first piece you see when you walk in is one of Monet's. I was like starstruck. This painting has a very painterly effect and embodies Impressionism perfectly. The colors were so bright and beautiful as well. This painting feels really dynamic because of all the different brush strokes you can see, and this is because he painted this outdoors in just a few hours. There were so many other beautiful paintings in this exhibit from artists like Paul Cézanne and Mary Cassatt. The next painting I saw was Van Gogh's portrait of Alexander Reed. This was also the first Van Gogh piece I'd ever seen in real life. His style of painting is so iconic, and his use of different brush strokes and color is truly genius. The next Monet piece I saw was breathtaking. Its color palette is stunning. Periwinkle is my all-time favorite color, and this piece is full of it. The landscape is so gorgeous, and it felt like I was looking out through a window on a beautiful vacation. Looking at it up close, I was able to see all the different brush strokes he used, and it was so cool to just imagine the painting techniques used to paint this. I've been admiring Monet's work for quite some time, and so to be able to just stand in front of one and see the brushstrokes that he made was so incredible. The next exhibit I went into was Scottish Identity in Art. I was so impressed by the masterpieces that were displayed in this room. A majority of the artworks were massive, with such incredibly fine details painted with such realism, it was almost as if someone had taken a picture. I also really liked the atmosphere in here. It was quite moody with the dark green walls. After this exhibit, I headed back downstairs to the center hall for the 1 p.m. organ recital. These happen every day in the afternoon, and they have screens where you can watch the musician up close. He was amazing, and the organ sounded beautiful. I watched for a bit and then headed back upstairs. You can hear the organs throughout the building. It was so nice to hear it in the background as you wandered through. I first went and saw Dali's Christ of St. John on the Cross. This is one of the most famous paintings that Kelvingrove Museum houses. It was in a small room all on its own, and I think the installation design was perfect. The dark walls and low lighting really helped to emphasize the dramatic and moody setting of the painting. The mix of perspectives really made seeing this painting such an intriguing experience. Next, I explored the Dutch art exhibit. Now, I want to take a moment and just say a huge thank you for 800 subscribers. It means so much to me that you guys enjoy watching my videos. I truly love the whole process of filming and editing them, so I'm so happy that you guys are interested in watching. This community is so special to me, and I hope to continue to grow a space where we can all share our love for art and creativity. Back to the museum, I made my way to the North Gallery, where there was a massive stained glass artwork. I love stained glass. It always reminds me of church, and I love when the light shines through and reflects the color. I also think the patterns made with the different fragments of glass are so beautiful. Now, I had made my way through all the exhibits, and I was itching to do some sketching. I had kept an eye out the whole time on any statue that I might want to draw. And the one that caught my eye was the bust of Adam Smith in the Scottish Identity and Art Room. I loved the atmosphere of this exhibit, and the statue was situated in a perfect little nook where I could set up. So I spent the next hour and a half sketching, and this was so therapeutic. It was so nice hearing all the museum goers in the background. I love sketching from life because I think it's an amazing way to practice mindfulness. I had so much fun getting to spend time in the museum, relax, and do some art. I was super happy with how the final drawing turned out. The lighting in the exhibit allowed for dramatic shadows to be cast on the sculpture, which really helped me to see all the details as I was sketching. I filmed a TikTok of the whole process, which I'll add in here. Once I was done, I packed up all my stuff and headed down to the gift shop. They had the cutest selection of palm pals and plant stuffies. They also sold a ton of cards, postcards, posters, and notebooks of works from the museum. Had a whole book section, which was my favorite part. I love flipping through all the different books on different artists. I found a book on the Glasgow boys and decided to get it because I loved their pieces so much. They sold lots of other cool trinkets and goodies. They also had a whole section dedicated to Dali, as well as the floating heads. I also ended up buying a little tote bag and a Renee McIntosh designed umbrella because I forgot mine and it was raining outside. Once the rain settled and the museum was nearly closing, I headed off to get some dinner. I went to a restaurant called Dim Sum, and it is one of my favorite places to go while I'm here. I get it every time I'm in the city visiting. Their food is amazing and the staff are super nice. I got a platter of dumplings, some duck spring rolls, and they give you prawn chips. It was all so delicious. I totally recommend coming here if you ever come to Glasgow. And finally, I headed back home on the train. I had such an amazing day coming into the city and exploring the Kelvingrove Museum. I loved it so much that I managed to stay there from pretty much open to close. It was such an amazing experience and really deepened my respect for the artists, as well as provided me with so much new inspiration. I really want to create one of Monet's works that I saw, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more art content. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, happy creating.